Hi folks, Joey Ricard here with TracksideScenery.com. In this video, we're going to take a look at a quickly growing interest in the hobby of model railroading. We're going to dive headfirst into the fascinating world of battery power and radio control. We're here with the one and only Steve Sherrill and his gorgeous 24x32 ON30 gauge Shady Grove and Sherrill layout. All of Steve's currently assigned locomotives have been converted to battery power and radio control. Steve's currently working on some of my ON30 locomotives, converting them to battery power and radio control for use on my spruce, coal, and timber traveling display layout. Let's talk with Steve. Steve, what do we have here?
We're looking at conversion of this layout from DCC to battery-powered radio control with a Deltang RC system, which is 2.4 gigabytes. It's extremely small. The parts are in the tender of this porter. I just installed for Joey Ricard. It gives you full control. It does not support sound at this time. If you look at the controllers for this, here's the size of it. It's just a little bit bigger or smaller than a pack of cigarettes. If you compare this to a standard control, you can see the size difference. We have the speed control on these is absolutely wonderful. We can make these locomotives creep and we don't have to worry about dirty track. It will almost pull itself on the ground if it's derailed.
That definitely is a big consideration that a lot of people have, is the condition of their track and the electrical connections. I myself have to worry about that at train shows with the spruce, coal, and timber layout, where there's a lot of dust that comes in overnight. The next day you come in, the layout's dirty.
For the locomotive,
that's small.
That's very small. It's less than an inch by a half of an inch, and it will run this locomotive for almost 2 hours of continuous running. Installation for this particular system only takes about 30 minutes. It depends on the access to the electrical wires which go to the motor. It's 2 wires to the motor and 2 wires to the batteries, and that's it.
Now, how do we charge this locomotive up when it runs out of gas here, so to speak?
Well, what I've done in the installations that I do, I put a charging port in the back, which we put the charging lines in. This is just a simulated right here.
Gotcha. So in theory, you could have a locomotive shop and have a wire that comes out somewhere that pulls out, and you could charge your locomotive up there while you're running around the layout with the other locomotives. Is that right?
Correct. You can leave it on the track, or you can take it off the track. Now, because you're equipped with reed switches, which are activated by batteries, if you look down, you'll see a green light come on. Green light came on. If you can see that flashing.
I see that.
Okay. Once that becomes solid and we bind with the controller, it is now ready to run. When it comes time to turn it off, we just have a button on the transmitter and we just turn it off.
Seems pretty easy. How easy is the installation for someone putting in the charging port, and how much room did you have in this particular tender here? And the other question I want to ask for everybody is, if you don't have a tender like this, now I built this tender to house a speaker when I had the DCC unit in there, but how would you be able to do it in a standard porter? I think that's probably a lot of people would want to know that.
Well, I don't have a standard porter, but I do have a Davenport. This Davenport has the battery in the cab, the charging port in the back, as you can see right here. It has the receiver, and I've used a step up, which steps the current up from 3.7 volts, which is what this battery has, to 12 volts. And so that means it will run and pull a lot more. This is one of the old AHM 1970s Plymouth diesels that I have converted. They never were very good runners. They, once the wheels got there in the 70s, people kind of got rid of them. This particular one has a charging port under a light.
Interesting.
So when you finish charging, you can put the light in, and nobody even knows it's there.
Now, the next question somebody might have is, what about lighting? What about headlights and backup lights and things like that? What's the current status on being able to use that?
Well, everything you add to the battery usage will decrease the amount of time that you can operate your locomotive. You can put lights on it. You can put directional lights. I'm not a big light proponent. I don't think they're of any value. If you use yellow lenses that are available, you can simulate lights on in the daytime, so you don't need it.
I can certainly see someone with modern diesels and things like that want to have lights, and that would be a consideration.
Certainly do that.
But definitely for people of the steam era, and especially what we're doing here with ON30 and the smaller early 1900s type stuff, it probably doesn't matter that there is a headlight. And to be honest with you, on my railroad, at this point, it doesn't,
Right.
no consideration.
Right. But you can do it. There are a lot of receivers that Deltang makes, which will allow you more and more servos, which gives you more and more opportunity to add different lights.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
These are the components that go into the Deltang system for the installation. You have the receiver, you have the battery, or batteries, depending on how much current you want to run through, and the transmitter. This is a transmitter that's already built, available at Deltang. You would just input a 9-volt battery in it to activate it. This locomotive has 7.4 volts, where we have linked up two 3.7 volt batteries put together.
So there's two batteries in that one.
There's two batteries in that one. This one has one 3.7 volt battery. It's larger in size, has more milliamps, which allows you to operate longer. Because of the size, we went with these two, which will give you a little over 2 hours, and this is probably about the same, a little over 2 hours.
It just won't be able to pull more.
We just won't pull more, yeah. If you look at an installation here, you can see how these batteries have been linked together and painted so they're not visible through the windows. Here's the receiver on top, the battery's underneath, and then the motor is underneath that, and you can wire right in. I have double back tape so it doesn't move around when I take the cab on and off.
Now, is there anybody in the U.S. that does these installations yet? Is there any kits that are available, or is this all, at this point, pieced together? Because I know you're a proponent of the Dead Rail Society, and I know you get on some of the message boards and the Yahoo groups and talk about it, but what can the average person that wants to go to battery power and radio control, what do they need to do?
Well, you get a lot of help on the forum groups, Free Rails,
Railroad Line and
Rail Line Forum. They have some. The Dead Rail Society is out there. If you Google Dead Rail Society, you can contact them. They'll be able to help. I believe there's an article in the ON30 Annual this year with the Dead Rail Society did a article on installation of sound with their radio control battery powered. I believe there's 4 companies that are doing battery powered at this point. And this is only the one Deltang that I'm talking about today that I prefer. I've seen the others, they all work, so you just have to make your choice. This is probably the least expensive way to go. There are lots of components that you can put together. If you have, depending on how much how many amps you're going to need, whether you want to build the units yourself or whether you want to get them ready to run. There's lots of opportunities here.
Sounds like it. Sounds like a really interesting way to go. And for those that are interested in battery power, do yourself a Google search and see what you can come up with. Unfortunately, we don't offer that at Trackside Scenery. This is just more of an informational video and something to come and get some information. We're going to be doing a few different videos. Steve's going to be retrofitting some backdrops and possibly doing some other things. But also we're going to do some how-to videos making different types of things, and not just for ON30, but for other skills as well. So I hope you stay with us. And Steve, it was nice of you to have us here at the Shady Grove and Shell Railroad, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you.
I can't thank Steve enough for having me out to his layout time and time again, doing this conversion for me, and also spending the time to talk to us about battery power and radio control. Also, while I'm at it, I want to mention a couple of the podcasts that I listen to on a regular basis. One of them is Model Rail Radio, hosted by Tom Barbalet. They share a lot of information from around the world, have a variety of people talking about a lot of different things. The other one I want to mention is the Scotty Mason Show. Scotty and the guys always have a good time. They talk about a lot of great subjects. This is Joey Ricard with TracksideScenery.com. See you next time. Thanks for watching.